Hi everyone, I am doing a little ballet in my kitchen. I know that may seem awfully strange, but I think that one of the things that I love about ballet is you can do it at any age, and you may not have the same abilities from one decade to the next, but you still have the ability to do a lot of the things that are ballet exercise oriented. And I guess I kind of like to make it approachable for everybody so that you don't feel like you have to have a ballet studio or ballet shoes or whatever. So here I am stretching up on my countertop, which is about the right level for me. This is kind of the level of the bar at the dance studio. And a lot of the stuff that I'm doing here is maybe not as flexible as some people, but I always say this, but I think we all have to just start with whatever we've got and move on from there. So I was doing some releves, which means you roll up onto the ball of your foot, and that extends the stretch a little bit more for me. On this part, I've squared off my hips, meaning both of my hips are trying to point toward that foot that's up there. And that's a good stretch for your hamstring, especially. And sorry, my computer just made a weird noise. So anyway, I hope that you'll try some of these things. You can certainly do this on a lower table or a chair. I have people that take my ballet class at home and they use a chair or their counter at home. So hopefully you'll join me. I'll talk you through some of this as we go. So I'm very random. Here I'm going to do some ballet and pas de bourrée. And yeah, dancing in your kitchen has got to be one of the best things in life. Wait for that kettle to boil and let me see your ballet. So some of my students take my basic ballet class. So we do some of these basic moves. And even though we may not plan on being ballerinas up on a stage, we still get to have fun. And I think one of the things that keeps you young is to stay a little childlike, have fun and don't get too serious. I tend to get too serious. I am not the best at being playful. That is something I would say my mom is excellent at. And I always say I want to be my mom when I grow up. Here's some pas de bourrée classique. And I am just really random right now. Okay, so here's some plie and a tendu. And a lot of this stuff really works your thighs and your ankles. I have some students who are older and they notice that their ankles are not quite as flexible. And when that happens, it's easier to trip. You also may not have the same strength in the muscles surrounding your ankles. So, ballet is a really good activity for ankles, feet, calves. It kind of works everything and doesn't really put you at a high risk of injury, although, I always warn people to check with your doctor first. And if you do have injuries of some sort, then you better modify. Here I go with an arabesque, and I'm just touching down and lifting, trying to keep my hips square. Here's a little plie. It's going to add a little extra. And you definitely will start to notice this, even though I'm not lifting weights per se. The muscle is definitely feeling it. So I hope that you're joining me for this and not just watching. Okay, so now we're going to face the support, whatever, a chair or counter or whatever. This is really good for your glutes and your hamstrings. So you're doing an arabesque, basically lifting the leg behind you, and then you do it with a pointed foot and you do it with a flexed foot. And you try to extend that knee completely straight every time. You try to bring your foot as close to your bottom as you can every time. And if you do a number of these, you definitely will feel it in the hamstring and the glutes. So that's one of my favorites to do with my class. This one I feel is particularly difficult for your abs and your obliques because when you're lifting that leg, you want to try to avoid letting your hip pop up. And so trying to use your abs to control the hip is going to make a big difference. So in ballet, we don't oftentimes do actually abdominal exercises, but because so much of ballet requires you to tighten up your abs develop anyway. And it's probably like that with a lot of sports, right? You just have to have a really strong core. And a lot of the things that you do actually strengthen it. I know my son plays water polo, and man, oh man, talk about abs. And they don't do ab work, but they have to have strong core. And I know he developed his abs from water polo. So, if you do a sport of some sort, you probably have the same concept going on, but ballet is really good. But you have to really pay attention. You have to use your abs, tighten them up, and really try to consider that, not just what your leg is doing, but paying attention to your abs. So here I'm doing an arabesque, tendu, arabesque, passe, arabesque, tendu, close first. And let's see, we're going to go into, okay, my students laugh at me because I do a lot of pulsing and what I call notching. Pulsing and notching tends to be when the groaning starts. So, but it's really good. Great for your abs and everything. So I think you ought to try this. So I just had a few minutes before I had to get on with the rest of my day. So it's a short little video, but I think even if you take 10 minutes out of your day to do some of these, you're going to notice your muscle tone improving and your strength improving. And that's what I think is really cool. Sometimes we set ourselves up for these long workouts that we never can get around to, but just try a little bit, 10 minutes even. All right, thanks for being with me, and I hope that you are living today and every day on fire. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much.